In the beginning of the story, we see some kung fu warriors flying like birds. The name of this boy is Lee, who was enjoying himself while getting close to his girlfriend Lisa. But he was just seeing all this in his dream, which soon shattered. Actually, he could only imagine himself as a great kung fu master because, in reality, he was the weakest in his entire clan. Suddenly, he thought it was time for lunch for the entire clan, and he had to make all the preparations. 10 years ago, he was admitted to King Young's school, which is a great kung fu school. Jao tried to learn martial arts and become better than others, but he was very weak compared to the other students. His hands were better at cooking than kung fu. After this, he quickly started cooking food for his master and fellow students, and as soon as the food was ready, he called everyone. As soon as the food reached the table, his friends started having fun. They pounced upon him and started fighting amongst themselves. This much was enough to estimate the power of these students. One of them stopped the food in the air. After a while, the master's wife Sura came and attacked him, throwing him on the ground. Then, when the master entered, everyone sat down peacefully in complete discipline. Now the students had to eat only normal rice because he had already ruined the food prepared by Lee. Suddenly, the master asked Lee, "Brother, the food is fine. How is your training going?" Lee started telling happily that he was just about to cross the first level. At this, his teammates immediately started applauding him, but the master did not believe it. He called Lee forward and decided to test his body energy. Despite so many years of training, Lee started bowing down in a few moments. Seeing this, Lee was shocked. The master's daughter started supporting Lee from behind, but the master was gradually increasing his strength, so slowly everyone started secretly giving their energy to Lee so that he could survive the master's test. But the master understood their trick. He came and threw everyone in the air in one go. After this, he told Lee that he failed to clear the first level. After this, we see that Liz secretly helped him with his training. She had to do it secretly because King Young's school did not allow her to learn from any other master. Breaking this rule could result in her being expelled or being sent behind a wall for 10 years to sit on one side and meditate. Well, this time Lee was about to complete his level 1 training when suddenly a light started coming out of the locket he was wearing around his neck, and suddenly he fell down. Lisa told him that she felt as if Lee's body was on fire. Two forces were fighting inside him, but both of them decided to move ahead without thinking much about it. Lee told Lisa that 10 years ago, his parents were killed by Dem King, and his entire village perished in that attack. He was devastated, to which Lisa thought that if she took him to the same place, maybe he would feel better. Actually, they could not leave the school without permission, but both thought about it for a while and quietly went to the school. He moved away from there, and soon reached that deserted village. Upon reaching there, Lee remembered the day when the whole village was destroyed. He and his friend Jean Yu were returning home when they saw the whole village surrounded by lightning and bright light. Suddenly, a masked man passed in front of them, chasing the most powerful martial artist in the village. Lee and Jean Yu fell unconscious after getting caught in the middle of this fight. When Lee regained consciousness, the fight was still going on. The man who was wearing the mask was losing, but then he saw Lee standing there. He attacked Lee and put a poisonous substance in his clothes. He hid the worm, and when the most powerful warrior of his village came to save him, the worm bit the warrior as soon as he caught hold of Lee. But even the poison of that worm could not kill the master. Instead, he beat that person and chased him away. After a loud explosion, when Lee and Jean Yu returned to the village, they found everyone dead. They both started crying out of grief. After a while, Lee's master came there with his daughter Lisa and took her with him. During this time, all the 7 masters of King Young's school were having a meeting together. After every 60 years, all the masters used to organize a competition among their students. This competition was to decide which master could train the most powerful warriors, and the winner of this competition would be made the great army leader. There was an old enemy living beneath King Young's school, and a master felt that the demon sons were increasing their numbers. That's why this tournament is also a kind of training so that all the students learn to fight the enemies. After this, we see that some student boys secretly train the students of the Shaja clan, who are usually girls. As we were watching, there were many girls there, so the boys started making fun of them. But everybody's attention was on the strongest girl among them, Suki. As soon as she came in front, all the boys started climbing over each other to try to see her. In this scuffle, Lee fell out of his hiding place, after which all the girls surrounded him and captured him. The rest of the boys escaped, but poor Lee was hung from the cliff by Juki. He tied Li with a rope and dropped him from several feet above. He was thrown down, and finally, as a punishment, a lot of itchy bugs were put inside his body. They were very small and very difficult to remove. Li's friends tried hard to remove the worms, but there were too many of them. So they thought of locking Li in a hot pot. Luckily, Lisa reached there at the right time and saved him. She took him out of the vessel and started treating him herself. He already liked her a lot in his heart, and seeing her act, his love increased even more. He decided that he would work hard, become strong, and then go live forever. Next, Sabali would express his love. He stopped near a lake and went to ask advice from the dragon present there. He had also brought food for him and was asking how to talk to Lisa. There were only a few days left in the tournament, so now Lisa should talk secretly. Sei stole some of her father's secret scrolls and gave them to Li, so he could become more powerful quickly. He immediately began training, but just as he was about to pass the first level of training, the voices of two different masters began to ring in his head. They started saying something, and then the amulet around his neck started to work and began giving him pain. She had found this necklace 10 years ago when she was bitten by that poisonous snake. When the insect had bitten the old master, the master had given him all his knowledge before his death and had also told him to get rid of this necklace as soon as possible. But Li had not been able to do this till now. Now he was getting suspicious. He thought that maybe this locket was stopping him from completing his training. He decided to throw this locket. He went to the highest rock and now wanted to throw the locket, but a monkey came there to snatch it. Before Li could pick up the ball lying on the ground, Juki secretly changed the ball, and thus Li got the number 1 ball. Li started thinking. He went, and when he thanked Juki, she said that she had come here to fight and she had no interest in moving ahead without fighting, so she had done this for herself and not for him. The tournament started, and 31 students were eliminated in the first round itself. In the evening, we see that Juki was still training. She was very tired, and now she looked sick. Her master told her to rest, but Juki said that she wanted to win at any cost because her master was getting weak. But she did not know that other masters understood her in this way. In the second stage, Juki defeated her opponent without using the sword. Seeing this, everyone started getting scared. Now it was Li's turn, and his friends came to see him. Everyone who came took him lightly, but Li defeated his opponents very easily. During the fight, some dust fell in front of his eyes. The stick itself was alive, but then Li told that he had qualified. Everyone was stunned to hear this. In the next round, he was competing with his childhood friend Jingyu. Jingyu felt that Li was better than him. He was very weak, so he gave him the chance to attack first. But the stick attacked strongly and defeated Jingyu. Jingyu got angry and said, "You deceived me by hiding your strength. You did not do the right thing to me." He got so angry at this that he broke his friendship with Li and left. At night, Li's monkey took him to the area of those female warriors where Juki was lying unconscious on the riverbank. Li picked her up and saw that she had become very weak. He gave advice to Juki. She asked him to leave the tournament, but Juki said that she would win the tournament at any cost. The next day, all the students and their masters gathered for the final match between Li and Juki, but today Li did not have his stick because yesterday Jingyu had. After Li got angry, he felt very bad and threw the stick away. Without the stick, Li was very injured in the beginning, but when Juki asked him to surrender, he refused and was ready to fight till his last breath because everyone always considered him useless. Juki took out her sword to end the tournament, but suddenly the stick returned because it was not killing its master. She could not see him dying. As soon as Li touched the stick, his wounds healed immediately. After this, the stick started attacking Juki one after the other, but seeing blood flowing from Juki's nose, Li stopped him. In the middle of their fight, Mandy Monsi and the clan reached there. Many students went towards the forest after hearing a child scream, but it was a trap set by Dean, a puppet master who took control of them and forced them to kill each other. Now many demons came out from beneath the earth. They started killing the students so that the way for Dim King to enter the school was clear. However, all the 7 masters recognized Li's stick and understood that it was Dim King's special weapon, the blood-sucking pearl. They snatched the stick and imprisoned Li. They suspected that Li may have been trained in black magic. but his master said that it had been 10 years since the boy had gone out of school. Then a student came running there and told them about the incident in the forest. After this, everyone understood that Li had done nothing wrong because he was in captivity. Still, they beat Li and the stick. They kept him locked up, and Yao, who had gone out to investigate, saw the opportunity and tried to free Li. But he did not want to run away from there because he was afraid that if he ran away, all the blame would fall on him. But then, Yao had to make him unconscious and get him out of there. When the stick came forward to save Li, Yao explained to it that she was not doing anything to its master, she had come to save him. After which, the stick also started helping Yao, but Yao was lying, and she told him that she was his master. She took him to her father, who turned out to be the dim master. The dim master attacked Li as soon as he saw him, but Yao intervened and fought her father. She wanted her father to teach Li and not kill him. She tried to save Li, but he could not stand against his father's power for long. Li was alone, so he relied on his stick. He was the master of all the 7 masters. Until he reached there, he kept fighting with Dim Master, who was very powerful. To fight him, all the 7 masters combined their powers and attacked. Li was surprised to see the power of his masters because they used the same lightning attack which he had once used against him. His village had been destroyed. He realized that one of these masters had destroyed his village, but this was not the time to choose sides. Seeing his masters in trouble, he helped them, and during this, his body drew in energy, both good and bad. He did not even realize when he reached a different level from Nausicaa. Demmer Master immediately understood that Li was no ordinary person. There were 3 different types of kung fu in his body. He warned that Li's power would cause the destruction of the school and suddenly disappeared. The masters were terrified and thought that Li had to be killed. He felt betrayed when he saw his masters attacking him. Now he was so powerful that if he wanted, he could have destroyed them all and was about to make a fatal attack on his master when Lisa came in between and saved his life. While trying to save her father, she got injured. Lisa was very badly injured, but still, she extended her hand and asked Li to identify himself. Li regained consciousness, but poor Li's master was dead. At this moment, Juki's master saved her. Though Juki was hesitant to kill Li, she did not disobey her master's command. The first attack was blocked by Li's companion, and the second was stopped by his master, who kept telling Li to get out of here as soon as possible and never come back. As Juki moved forward to attack for the 3rd time, he remembered that Li had saved his life, so to repay his favor, he let Li go. Li picked up the injured Yao and flew away, promising her that he was taking her to a place where no one could find her. So how did you like this kung fu movie? After a long time, do tell me in the comments. If you want to see more such movies, then comment okay? He immediately ran away from there, but the monkey kept throwing stones at him. Finally, he went into the river and started swimming upstream, but the stones were pulling him deeper. Some mysterious glowing light was visible below, but before going, the stone changed its direction. The monkey bit Li's hand to steal the locket, after which Li pushed it away. As soon as Li's blood touched the locket, a stick came out from the bottom of the lake, and the sky became dark. Now that stick was floating in the air, the locket around Li's neck suddenly started getting very hot again, after which he soon went and took it with the stick. It completely fused together, as if it had always been the same thing. All the 7 masters were shocked to see the sky like this. They understood that a dangerous weapon called the blood-sucking pearl had awakened again. This blood-sucking pearl was actually a demon. It was the king's weapon which had been snatched from him, and he was imprisoned somewhere. Since then, Dem King had been searching for it. Now, when the stick had appeared again, it was possible that he might come out of the earth and try to get it. After this, the stick suddenly went to Li. He saved the monkey and was about to leave from there when a woman wearing a mask came and tried to snatch the stick. Li did not know how to fight much, but he kept on controlling that girl somehow until Juki and Lisa reached there and chased the stranger away. After a while, when Li was explaining everything to Liz, he noticed that the bite mark had disappeared from his hand. That night, the strange woman came to Li's once again. She came into the room to steal the stick, but trouble started when she began taking the stick away. Somehow, the stick had become attached to its new owner. After which, the girl thought that she would kill him and get the stick, but the stick made the girl unconscious while protecting Lee. The next morning, Lee got scared after seeing her on his bed. He was confused, but that woman said, "You have killed me. I did everything with him last night. Now at least give me this stick." He was convinced by her words and wanted to give her the stick, but the stick came back to him every time. Frustrated by this, the girl left from there without saying anything. We found out that the stick could even talk to Lee. The next day, students of other masters also arrived at the school, and the tournament was about to start soon. One of them was an old friend of Lee, who had become a very talented student by training under another master. He had become a powerful warrior. When he came to know that even after 10 years, Lee could not pass the first stage of training, he said, "Brother, your master is useless. He would not have taught you properly." Lee was doing some work of his own. When he saw Yao in the flower field, he shouted at her not to pluck the flowers, as they would hurt her. Then suddenly, many horsemen arrived there, and the girl told Lee to keep quiet. After he fell down, she asked him to keep quiet, and when he did not stop, she kissed him. After they left, Yao started looking for the stick around her, but Lee said that he had just dropped her home. After which, she slapped Lee and left from there. But the stick itself came and stood near Lee to save him. Later, when Lee returned to school after finishing his work, he saw Lisa hugging another student. Lisa did not even know that Lee loved her, so unknowingly, she kept talking about her boyfriend in front of him. "My boyfriend is like this, he is like this, he does this, he does this." Lee was smiling silently after listening to her, but the poor guy was feeling broken inside. To vent his anger, he went to a nearby rock and started shouting loudly, but his friends heard him, after which he ran away from there in shame. While running, he saw some people chasing him, then Yao met him. Both of them were together. They hid in a cave, where Lee questioned the girl. She was hiding from her master because she had broken a rule. She used to touch her stick several times while talking. She wanted to snatch it, but she could not control it. In anger, she took out her weapon, but before she could attack, the stick sensed the danger and knocked her unconscious. She was unable to understand anything, but he behaved well with her. For some time, he later went out to get food, and when he returned, he saw that the girl was cooking something. At first, he thought that she had cooked a monkey for him, but it was a burnt rabbit. After that, the girl cooked another rabbit on a stick. She tricked him by saying that she remembered the meat cooked by her mother. Lee was not very clever, and seeing this, the girl told him about her mother's death and her wish to live in a place where no one could find them. Finally, the day of the tournament arrived. 7 students of each master were selected who would fight among themselves to decide who was number 1. Now there were a total of 49 students in this tournament, so it was decided that whoever had the number 1 ball in his hand would come and go straight to the next stage. As soon as the balls were released into the air, everyone started flying to catch them. A master noticed that Lee was the only student who. Everyone started laughing at him because he had not progressed that far in Kung Fu.